In this video, we are going to talk about top 10 secrets of Vatican. So before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for the future updates. Even though Vatican City has less than 1,000 residents and only covers 110 acres, it has a multi-million-dollar budget and an incredibly complicated history. Reading through centuries-old religious writings is necessary to comprehend how it all functions. Is the Vatican baffling and enigmatic? The Pope is a Catholic. Taking a peek behind the scenes. Here are top 10 secrets of Vatican. So let's start. 1. Regular exorcise. The greatest trick the devil has ever pulled, according to Baudelaire, was convincing everyone that he doesn't exist. The devil, however, is regarded as being alive and well in contemporary Vatican City. During his pontificate, the late Pope John Paul II personally conducted 3 exorcisms, and Pope Benedict XVI grew the international network of exorcists employed by the Catholic Church. In fact, Father Gabriel Amorth, the Church's chief exorcist, asserts that he drives away more than 300 demons annually from the walls of his Vatican office, and the Catholic Church employs about 350 exorcists in Italy alone. In addition, Amorth instructs bishops on how to distinguish between satanic possession and mental illness, pointing out that those who experience the former appear to be particularly repulsed by the sight of holy water and the cross. 2. Where thieves go to pray. Vatican City has the highest crime rate in the world, 1.5 crimes per inhabitant. Not because the cardinals are assuming disguises and regularly robbing the bank, rather, it's because the huge numbers of visitors turn Vatican City into a haven for pickpockets. The fact that there is just one judge and no operating prison in the Vatican complicates the problem. Therefore, as part of an agreement between the two countries, the majority of criminals are simply marched across the border into Italy. With certain adjustments involving abortion and divorce, the Vatican's legal code is based on the Italian version. The typical punishment for offenses that the Vatican decides to prosecute itself, primarily shoplifting in its duty-free shops, is to temporarily deny the offender access to those locations. 3. The worst confessions. There are some sins that a local bishop cannot possibly pardon. According to the Church, priests are able to forgive even the most terrible sins, such as murder, but there are 5 particular transgressions that call for absolution from the Apostolic Penitentiary. For the first time ever, this secret tribunal's members gave a public conference in January 2009 to describe their work after meeting intermittently for the previous 830 years. 4. You can read the Pope's mail. Since Pope Leo XIII initially permitted researchers to see the Vatican's secret archives in 1881, they have no longer been kept completely hidden. It's even easier to obtain now. The correspondence of every pope for the previous 1,000 years is open to inspection by outsiders, but there is a requirement that visitors have a specific purpose in mind. The librarians forbid browsing the 52 miles of shelves in the archives. The letter that Henry VIII wrote to Pope Clement VII asking for the annulment of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon is likely the most well-known one that still exists. Rome broke with the Church of England after Henry divorced Catherine anyway and wed in Bullen, along with 4 other women. 5. The Pope liked to text message. Pope Benedict XVI frequently texted his homilies to mobile subscribers all over the world during his pontificate, and in 2009, the Vatican launched an official YouTube channel to broadcast various papal addresses and ceremonies. The Breviary Prayer Book and the Daily Mass Prayers are both available in multiple languages on an iPhone app that was even made available by the Vatican. Most recently, 2 months prior to his resignation, in December, Benedict started using Twitter. The Vatican is a big fan of technology, and not just the internet and mobile phones. As part of its commitment to addressing climate change, it has also installed solar panels on the roof of the Pope Paul VI Auditorium. 6. The Vatican has the finest Swiss bodyguards. Although the Swiss are now known for their pacifism, they were formerly viewed as an unbeatable military force. The halberd, a devastating weapon that combines a spear and an axe, was a specialty of the Swiss army, and their ground infantry were notorious for frequently annihilating enemy legions of horsemen. Pope Julius II enlisted a select soldiers to serve as his personal bodyguards after 500 years ago, witnessing their bravery in combat. Since then, Swiss guards have sworn allegiance to the Pope and occasionally given their lives in the process. For instance, 3/4 of them were murdered while giving Pope Clement VII cover to flee during the 1527 siege of Rome. 7. The Mafia dipped into the collection plate. A dubious agreement between the Mafia and the Vatican results in the Pope's assassination in The Godfather, Part 3. This was based on a real story, right? Possibly. After only 33 days in office, Pope John Paul I was discovered dead, sitting up in his bed, on the morning of September 29, 1978. There was never an autopsy despite Vatican officials' claims that the 65-year-old Pope passed away from a heart attack, and at the time, the Vatican undoubtedly had connections to organized crime. Father Paul Marcinkus, president of the Vatican Bank, did indeed retire from his position in 1982 after a number of scandals revealed the bank's connections to the Mafia. The bank ultimately had to pay back its creditors more than $200 million. Although Marcinkus was suspected of being involved in multiple strange murders, including that of Pope John Paul I, he was never charged with a crime. Instead, Marcinkus was able to get diplomatic immunity in the United States, retire to Arizona in 1990, and pass on there 16 years later. 8. There's no vice pope. It was essentially the case up until Pope Benedict XVI's abrupt retirement last month that once a cardinal is elected pope, he becomes the chosen head of the Catholic Church and God's ambassador on earth for the remainder of his life. The previous papal resignation had occurred more than 500 years prior. Furthermore, as medical technology advances, even terminally ill patients tend to survive longer. As a result, a pope, like John Paul II, may live for years despite being unable to carry out his responsibilities. Then, what happens? Well, nobody is actually certain. As the head of state of the Vatican, a cardinal can assume the pope's duties, but no one else is permitted to perform his ceremonial obligations. 9. Faith-based economics. Every year, the Vatican requires several $100 million to operate. Its numerous financial obligations include managing foreign embassies, funding the Pope's trips across the globe, caring for historic cathedrals, and making large financial contributions to educational institutions, religious institutions, and healthcare facilities. So, from where does that money originate? Tithes are paid by Catholics to their local parishes, and they also give the Vatican an annual donation of roughly $100 million. But the Vatican does not simply rely on collection plates for funding. Additionally, the city-state receives revenue from bookstores, museums, stamps, and gift shops. Grab your limited edition euros from the Vatican. But sometimes, that's insufficient. The city-state was $13.5 million in debt at the end of 2007. The American dollar's decline in value, which resulted in lower purchasing power, contributed to the issue in some ways. L'Osservatore Romano, the Vatican Daily, performed poorly, which was another influence. 10. Even the ATMs are in Latin. The Vatican Bank is the only financial institution in the world that offers ATM users the option of choosing Latin for transactions. That is but one indication of the Holy See's ongoing commitment to the language. Pope Benedict XVI reportedly had a great deal of informal Latin chats and had a special interest for preserving the language. Pope John Paul II spoke Polish frequently. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoy this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.